Hi friends, I'm Penny Hunt and this is Penny Heart to Heart. I've been coming to you now for 24 days, doing these videos at 3 o'clock Mountain Time every day, talking to you about what's going on in the world and giving you some tips and techniques, and sometimes it's just ideas out of my head about things we could think about, things that we can do to make your life easier, to help us stay calm and living in that space of gratitude during this uncertain time that we're living through. I want to remind you that I've been giving books away, so if you want to be in my book drawing, all you have to do is in the comment line write, "I'd love your book," and you'll be in this week's drawing for the book. This will be the fourth book I've given away for this week when this week is over and I do that drawing, so that's fun for me. Even if you watch it after it's not live anymore, you still can comment and I'll put you in the drawing. Today I want to talk to you about something that I thought about this morning, and as always, if I have a writing that correlates with what I'm going to talk about, I always put the link to the writing so you can go and read that later. And I encourage you to do that because it's different than what I'm going to say and may have some more snippets of things that you would enjoy learning about and reading. Today I want to talk to you about tables and how a table has two sides to every table. And when I wrote that writing called The Other Side of the Table, it was because a couple of things had happened in my life and to people that I cared about or care about still. And it occurred to me that we're not always on the same side of the table. There is always another side of the table from where we're sitting and where we're seeing and what we perceive is happening to us. There's someone else on the other side of the table that's probably experiencing the opposite. So let me give you a couple of examples. I had a friend who was asked to find success elsewhere. That's what I call it, instead of being let go from a job. That friend was asked to find success elsewhere. And as they sat at that side of the table when the HR people were inviting them to go find success elsewhere, it occurred to them that they had been on the other side. They had been the boss who had fired someone or laid them off or encouraged them to find success elsewhere. And now the table was turned. They were the one receiving that news on the other side of the table. I also, around this time, had some people that I cared deeply about, had a baby who only survived about a month and passed away. And during that time, and I know the family very well, and I was heartbroken for them and communicating with them, I just felt like, this is happening to them. And on the other side of the table, there are people that are experiencing great joy and celebrations. And isn't that an odd dichotomy? It was sometime later that that same couple who lost their baby had a new baby, and were joyous in that. It didn't take the pain away from the loss that they had experienced in their grief, but they had a new joy in their life. And at that same time, a very good friend of mine passed away from cancer. Again, families on two sides of the table. One side experiencing great joy and celebration, and the other side experiencing great loss and grief. And I think life is always like this. There's always, when we're experiencing one extreme, there is someone in this world experiencing the other side. And I think we need to keep that in mind, that we are not always fortunate to be on the sunny side of the table, and we don't always have total grief and disappointment and sadness, and we're not always on that dark side of the table. We take turns. I think the table flips, and we take the seat that we've been given at that time in our life. So I started thinking today about the situation we're in the world, and how I watch the news and I see these stories of hospitals and the medical professionals telling sad stories about people passing away alone because their families can't come in and visit them, and what a sadness that must be, and how they can handle such grief is such a dark side of this table. And at the same time, there are people recovering from it and joyous that it didn't strike them as hard, or like many of us have not been touched by it. We don't have family that are ill. We haven't gotten ill, and we are staying at home to stay safe and keep that side of the table for us to continue, because we don't want to become ill. We don't want to spread this virus, and so we're doing the things that we're supposed to do. And other things that are happening, there are people that their businesses are closing and they're losing their jobs, and so they're on this dark, uncertain, frightened side of the table. And there are people that do have a job and they are working, and or they're fortunate enough to work at home so that they're safe and so they still have an income. And so although it's a stressful situation and not perfect, they are on the other side of the table because they do have a job and they are still fortunate to have their income. And so right now, those of us on one side of the table or the other, and maybe many kind of in the middle of the table, and for whatever your circumstances are. But I wanted to talk to you about this because I wanted you to think about this, about how there's two sides to every table. And I have been on both sides of the table many times in my life. I have had great joy and wonderful things happen, and I have had great sorrow and horrible, heartbreaking things happen in my life. And so I've been on both sides of the table. And I really do believe that we have to be in this ebb and flow, that this is what life is about, the ups and downs, and that's where we learn our lessons. And also, I believe that we have to see the dark of night to enjoy the light of the sunrise. And if we are always on the sunny side of the table and nothing bad has ever happened, nothing painful has ever happened, it's hard to see the glory of everything being wonderful. Because unless you've been in that dark place, you don't enjoy and you don't appreciate and you're not grateful for the lightness. And I really think that's true. So I wanted to talk to you about it because I want you to think about it, and I want you to be sensitive to those who are in great pain right now and struggling and scared. I think we all share a little bit of that uncertainty and fear, and I think that's quite normal right now for what the world is going through. But if you are in a safe place and you're in your home and you have food to eat and you have an income, so it's maybe not quite as scary in your bubble, where you are in your safety bubble, as some people that don't have the benefits of us. Think about those people and be empathetic and patient and caring for them, because we never know when the table is going to flip. We never know if tomorrow someone in our family will contract this virus, or someone in our family may be laid off from their job, and as more things close and the stay-at-home order maybe tightens up, or whatever happens in your community, the table could turn very easily, very quickly, and we could be sitting on the other side of the table. So I think we need to be very, very grateful for what we have and where we are, and very, very patient and caring for those who are struggling more than us, and also be very aware that it could flip, the table could turn at any time. And we're not always going to be on one side of the table. Sometime it's going to be our turn to be on the other side of the table, and that's the way life works. That's the ebb and flow, the natural order, the good and bad. That's the way the roller coaster of life goes. So I encourage you to read the writing, The Other Side of the Table. I have more details in there about my stories and how it's so obvious to me how we get to take turns being on one side of the table or the other. And we watch our friends and loved ones and family members be on one side of the table or the other. And it is the natural rhythm of life, I believe. So I encourage you to read that. If you want to be in the book drawing, all you have to do is write "I love your book" in the comment line, and you'll be in the drawing for this coming week's book giveaway. I appreciate you. I am thankful that you join me, and I hope that you share some of these tidbits that you learn with others. That's my whole mission, to help others, and I hope that you share it and talk to your kids about every tip I give you. If they have trouble sharing, you can give them the example of one side of the table or the other, that we have to take turns. I am Pennie Hunt, and this has been Pennie Heart to Heart. Thanks for watching.